Thank you, Chair Graves, and I want to say how much I support the ANS to H.R. 3935, the Securing Growth and Robust Leadership in American Aviation Act. This is a bipartisan effort done in good faith to make the compromises necessary in order to develop a bill that we can support. It also, of course, puts safety first to protect the flying public and secure the future of the U.S. aviation system. Over the last 6 months, this committee has held 5 reauthorization hearings, received over 1,500 stakeholder proposals, and hundreds of member policy requests, all of which contributed to this comprehensive and long-term legislation before us. This bill advances American leadership in aviation safety and aerospace innovation, strengthens and diversifies our aviation workforce, improves consumer protections and accessibility, and makes groundbreaking investments in sustainability. I want to thank Chair Graves, Aviation Subcommittee Chair Graves, Ranking Member Cohen, and all of our colleagues for the collaboration in this process. Although the U.S. aviation system is the safest in the world, recent years have tested its limits. The rise in near-miss events at some U.S. airports has exposed a vulnerability that can be dangerous for the flying public. And this reauthorization will help prevent these near misses by expanding ground surveillance and detection capabilities to all large and medium hub airports, giving controllers and flight crews more awareness of potential hazards. This technology is only in use at 43 U.S. airports today. Further, recent cases of unruly passengers continue to pose a threat to flight crews and other frontline workers. And this bill will better protect the flight deck by requiring FAA to finalize a rule on secondary barriers and develop recommendations to prevent assaults against airline personnel. To maintain America's gold standard in safety, we must implement an appropriate regulatory framework for emerging industries to scale. Our committee has heard about the potential benefits of drones, from infrastructure inspection and delivery of medical supplies and commercial goods to supporting first responders battling natural disasters like wildfires. This authorization requires the FAA to issue a proposed rule for drones to safely operate beyond visual line of sight, providing regulatory certainty to the fast-growing sector and ensuring their safe integration into U.S. skies. This legislation will also help state, local, and tribal governments purchase drones to help workers do their jobs safely, including inspecting and maintaining infrastructure. As new entrants, such as electric-powered lift aircraft, emerge in U.S. airspace, this bill ensures that the voices of local communities and current airspace users are also heard, and extends a program that Subcommittee Chair Graves and I championed to fund state and local community efforts to plan for future AAM operations and their infrastructure. With each passing year, climate change grows as a threat to millions of Americans. And last week's Canadian wildfires and resulting air quality highlights the need for us to take decisive action. This bill makes groundbreaking investments in sustainability, increasing the Airport Improvement Program funding from $3.35 billion to $4 billion, and dedicating a $150 million to airport noise and environmental programs. It also allows U.S. airports to use AIP funding for alternative fuels such as hydrogen and unleaded fuel infrastructure, and makes airports' environmental resiliency projects an eligible expense, helping to build a foundation for a cleaner and greener future of aviation. And American innovation and global leadership are impossible without the hardworking American aerospace workforce. And this reauthorization is a jobs bill, strengthening and diversifying the U.S. aviation workforce, recognizing how critical that effort is to our nation's long-term economic success. It triples funding for the FAA's Aviation Workforce Development Program and expands the talent pipeline of pilots, aviation maintenance technical workers, and aviation manufacturer workers as well. It also requires the FAA to hire significantly more air traffic controllers and takes a big step to prepare for the future air traffic controller workforce needs. Recent flight cancellations and delays have shaken the flying public's confidence in our aviation system. To get us back on course, this bill requires airlines to create resiliency plans to address mass flight disruptions like the one we saw last holiday season. It also takes steps to make passengers whole by requiring airlines to develop policies to cover food and hotel expenses from these disruptions. And for far too long, passengers with disabilities have experienced inexcusable barriers in air travel, from challenges with boarding the aircraft and inaccessible onboard lavatories to damaged and mishandled wheelchairs and mobility aids. And thanks to the effort of Ranking Member Cohen and our colleagues, this bill will pave a way for safer, more dignified air travel for folks who are limited in their mobility. There's much more to recover in this, and we will do that throughout the day. but I'm asking my colleagues to support this long-term, comprehensive, and bipartisan authorization that bolsters safety and protects consumers, in addition to many other things. I do want to thank Chair Graves, Subcommittee Chair Graves, and Ranking Member Cohen, and committee staff for their hard work on this legislation. Encourage my colleagues to support this bill. Look forward to continuing to work on this over the next couple of days. With that, I yield back.
I now recognize